Here we go, here we go. My name is Charlie. I'm here with my wife, Amber.
Hello, hello, or as they say where we live, hola.
Hola. Should we tell them where we live right now?
Europe!
Should we...
You're up!
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Europe.
Europe who?
Europe, better.
Better up!
Better up. Yeah, so, I mean, like, should we tell them the actual country where we're at? I've been waiting.
You've been waiting? You could say a little something.
It starts with a P.
P.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think it might be the only European country that starts with a P.
People might think a city.
Or it could be a city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's exciting. I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to have been living in Europe with you.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yes. It's had its joys and its challenges.
Yeah.
Just with any season, right? But at
Right.
least it's European challenges, ministry challenges, that type of thing.
Yeah. I think with anything in life, there's gonna be challenges, you know.
Yeah.
But that's all right, because we can stay the course and continue to trust God. And I think the biggest challenge that we face really is, well, it was 5 days at the LAX airport to get to here. 5 days in a row, pretty much going there and being rejected from going because we had to get an official document from the nonprofit agency we're working with, and then, you know, we had to get a particular negative COVID test. So, and then there was a different COVID test that they needed. So yeah. Anyways, thank God we got here, and that was actually in May. So we've been here since May, and that was September.
Woo! Already.
What do you think about that?
Wow. I think it's been a whirlwind, but I'm grateful for it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today, we're gonna be talking about. Well, do you want to announce when we're releasing the video?
Tomorrow, mañana.
Okay, baby.
Mañana.
So yeah, for those who don't know, this is my wife, Amber J.
Or today.
Or today. Oh, okay. And this right here is the best woman of all time. I've said it. I'll say it again. That she is the Michael Jordan of women. She's the GOAT of women. You know, when we took a literal personality test, literally on there, Michael Jordan had the same personality as Amber J. And we're talking Enneagram. So for all those Enneagram fanatics out there, what's up? What's up? You know, we took the test.
What's up?
We took the test, and now when we say we took the test, it seems like we're taking a different kind of test. But this was a personality test, and MJ came up as a similar personality. You know, she's a go-getter. When she wants something, she's going to go get it, period. You know, thank God.
Yeah.
And so she wants to do it with excellence.
You already know.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We just had that European pizza from one of our favorite spots.
Pizza.
And I found that detours are the best things in life because, you know, detours led me to you, baby. I wasn't even going to go to this journalism conference in
Are we
2015.
talking about that, or are we talking about something else, sir?
We talking about it because guess what conference it was?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We talking about it.
I always forget.
We stay talking about it.
AAJ.
Yeah.
Which stands for Asian
American
Journalist.
Association.
Dang. We always say journalism conference, which that's exactly what it was. But that's right, it was an Asian American. No, it was Asian American Pacific Islander.
Yep.
But it just has the A. Probably just to make it shorter.
Yeah.
But that's right.
It's crazy, huh?
We met at a journalism conference that was focused on culture. So our culture brought us together, and journalism.
And it was,
would you look at that?
And it's ultimately God.
Yeah.
God brought us together because, you know, I wasn't even going to go to this conference, but I got a scholarship like the month before because, you know, I'm early in my career. I'm starting out, not making that bank, you know what I'm saying?
During that time. Yeah, you were first year working professionally in Northern Michigan. And I was in my last year of the university finishing my degree in broadcast journalism.
Wow.
What do you know?
What do you know? And, you know, you can head to our YouTube channel, Charlie and Amber. We share it more. But yeah, basically, when I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get to know you, you know? And I found out later, as I said in my vows to you, baby, that you know, it's all glory to God, man. It was like a magnet, right? Holy Spirit was magnetizing us together. I never felt more confident or more sure about anything in my life than that we should be together. And didn't know how it would work, but knew why, that we belong together.
We belong together.
Oh, baby.
That was really off. Anyways.
Anywho's, yo, it's crazy because it's crazy. Are you braiding your hair?
Yeah.
That looks cute though.
Focus.
And so yeah, I just was drawn to your eyes first of all, and then your eyes led to your heart, and then your heart led to, oh my gosh, I saw your soul, and I saw your soul even more so. You know, when you came to Michigan and told me about your experience, you know, growing up and then going through some pain, really going through some real pain in your life, some trauma, and then that you kept your faith and focus on God, and that God carried you through the whole time, and that's when God was like, hey, yo, ask her to be your girlfriend. So we went to this Michigan cider mill. If y'all don't know, cider mills are the business, man. It reminds me of the fall, man.
Wait, are we talking about our story here?
Yeah. And then we...
Which direction is this going?
You'll see, love. And then so, you know, I think my sister, she just recently went to the Yates Cider Mill, which is where we met, or that's not where we met, but that's where I first asked you to be my girlfriend. And I was going to take you to the cider mill after this coffee shop, and we went to the stream, and I remember handing you this leaf.
Stream, we were in the forest. The Michigan forest.
It was so Michigan.
Just kidding, they don't talk like that there. How did they say? I don't know. I can't do the Midwest accent. It's kind of subtle, but also has its, like, they emphasize the A. In a weird, not a weird way, just a different way.
Is it nasally?
Chicago.
Oh, Michigan.
Chicago.
Like Antarctica.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, and then so I said, you know, I don't know how this will work because you live in California. I live in Michigan, and wow, really, the Lord provided through it all. You know, we dated long distance, we're engaged long distance, and then the day before our wedding, we were praying and God provided, man. God provided a job in Arizona with Fox News, multimedia reporter. The first time that they had a multimedia reporter in the Phoenix area with this company, and so I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna take it, but I remember the morning of our wedding, you said that, you know, you'd be stupid not to take it, and because they have opportunities in sports, and you know, sure enough, ended up working in sports in Fox after that, because the Lord provided another job opportunity with the company that they hadn't hired somebody in 15 years or so. So the Lord has really provided every step of the way, and that's just the overall, you know, quick big picture of how we were brought together, and it was all God, Jesus, as you say here, bringing us together. And I couldn't be more happy and grateful to God. I'm so grateful to God for giving me the best woman of all time to do life with.
And she's Filipina.
And you're Filipina.
Filipino American.
That's right, baby. So, and we just so happened to be at an Asian American journalist conference when we first met.
What do you know?
Which parlay into the topic today, talking about Asian American issues, my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's crazy that we're talking about this because literally right when we walked over here to our apartment in Europe, there was a guy, they're doing construction on this road, and it's so chill here in this country. I want to say the country so bad, but the video's coming out tonight. Stay tuned. Charlie and Amber, YouTube. Or tomorrow, you said.
Tomorrow
You the
latest.
edit. Tomorrow latest, all right. And we got to keep each other accountable now. It's on Twitter. So the road is under construction. It's a historic road, and this guy nearby, he's like Chinese, Japanese, he's using Portuguese.
Chinese, Japanese.
It was in Portuguese, but we definitely know what he was talking about. How did you feel? This is very raw here. It just happened. How did you feel when he said that?
Actually, I didn't really hear Chinese very clearly, but he did say something before that, and I'm just going to assume he said Chinese.
Yep.
Because really, the only Asian representation in this country is Chinese people.
Mm-hmm.
People of Chinese descent. And the reason why I know this is because there are many stores, lojas, that kind of gives a hint to where we are, shops, that are called China. China A1, China this, China that.
Mm.
And I'm just over here thinking, why does it need to be named China? And then I remember the pastor's wife. We were talking about some supplies we needed for the kids' camp we were serving at. And she was mentioning that, oh yeah, we can get it at the Chinese store. Because it's cheaper there. I'm like, Chinese store? Why does she call it Chinese store? That's kind of racist. But I realized it's literally what they call themselves. The shop names always have China in it.
Happy China.
Happy China.
Happy China too.
So that's the only Asian representation here. There's not much representation in the first place. So it's just a few Chinese people who typically own shops out here or own businesses here or invest companies here. And the only other time I heard of another Asian culture being here is when I was getting my nails done.
Okay.
At a nail shop.
Which, by the way, they look incredibly immaculate.
Thank
Immaculate.
you. They were 20 euros.
Oh.
This is off tangent. But can you believe my fellow nail aficionados?
Okay.
20 euros. That's
Tell 'em.
like converts to $22. Which is insane. Because typically when I get my nails done in the States,
Yup.
you know, I'm unashamed. I like getting my nails done. I
Yeah.
like getting my nails done. Don't judge me for it.
I ain't
okay?
judging. I'm
It's
loving
a part of self-care.
Yup.
It typically can be $60 to $70.
Oh, heck.
Which, in the grand scheme of things, is not that bad. And then would tip like $80. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad compared to, I've seen manicures with the big LA artists or New York artists, and it's like 100, 120, something like that. 140, 160. I mean, depending on what you're getting, I usually get like simple designs, but a little something. But anyways, the nail artist said that she had a client from South Korea. I said,
Today?
whoa, South Korea? That's cool.
The same day you went.
That's so far. No, not today, but I asked her if she had any clients from Estados Unidos.
Uh-huh.
Did you have any clients from the United States? And she said, no, I've had a client from, I think she said Germany or Italia. And then she said South Korea.
Ah. Wait, this is the one in Braga.
In Braga. Sí.
So this is how crazy it is. This is an article by Mark Ramirez of USA Today. Eric Young and his aunt Patricia Lee have seen a lot from their vantage point at Union Square Flowers, the stand they run just off Market Street in San Francisco. That's where we met, love. At the Asian American Journalist Conference.
Yeah.
But last month, when the two saw a man rush by with a large knife in his grip, they knew there was going to be trouble. Within moments, two Asian American women, one in her 80s and another in her 60s, were stabbed, neither fatally, at a bus stop near the outdoor shop. Thank God, not fatally.
Yeah.
And while authority... What's up?
Thank God.
Yeah. And while authorities said there wasn't enough evidence to charge Patrick Thompson, 54, with the hate crime, that the May 4th attack crime on the heels of a wave of anti-Asian American attacks and incidents was disconcerting.
There wasn't enough evidence? How is there not enough evidence for that?
Isn't that ridiculous?
Absolutely ridiculous.
And yeah, if it was somebody else, like if this was another type of social justice crime, it would be up in arms. This would be... Everybody would be talking about it. But since there's quote-unquote not enough evidence, that's how I felt. I mean, it wasn't definitely not to the level of being stabbed, but that's what I felt like when I was punched in the face. Like, oh, there wasn't, like there was, I didn't feel like anybody had my side. I just wasn't cared about.
Terrible.
You try not to think about it. You don't want to be paranoid, Young said. He nodded toward his aunt. Sometimes I do feel afraid, but more for my family. Asian American community advocates say the mental health toll of such incidents which have spiked during the pandemic is rampant and devastating, especially for the community's elderly who are already suffering the effects of isolation after months of a nationwide shutdown. So, all right, check this out. Stop AAPI Hate received more than 6,600 hate incident reports on its website between March 2020 and March 2021. A figure advocates note is likely an undercount, and this is still in the article. Above 2/3 of the incidents involve verbal harassment, with physical violence accounting for another 12% of the tally. About 30% of those reporting were between 26 and 35 years old, representing the largest age category compared to those 61 and older, over 6%, and youth 17 and under, younger 11%. So check this out. This is still in the article. The Market Street stabbings are the latest act of violence against Asian Americans to weigh on her client's psyches, she said. And that's Annie Chung, president and CEO of Self-Help for the Elderly, a 55-year-old San Francisco agency providing social services to largely low-income immigrant elders, many of whom, she said, have abandoned their ritual morning strolls. The fear is real, Chung said. They're staying home, not going out for groceries or even fresh air. So we worry for both the physical and mental health of our seniors. All right, check this out. Advocates said the resulting trauma, along with cultural attitudes about mental health, prevent many from seeking help and places them at greater risk for long-term harm as heightened anxiety and feelings of helplessness affect peace of mind and reduce social connections. Whew. All right. This is still in the article. We are looking at potentially a 4-fold increase in anxiety and depression, said Ann Saw, an associate psychology professor at Chicago's DePaul University, who was among the report's lead researchers. And it's the report from San Francisco's Stop AAPI Hate Center of 3 independent national studies they conducted between April 2020 and March 2021, gauging the mental health impacts of anti-Asian racism during that time. So that's what the report is talking about. Racism is not something that happens and people just brush it off. It affects them psychologically. People are still reporting symptoms 9 months later. That's a really important takeaway. We're experiencing the collective trauma. While Asian Americans in the United States have experienced racism for more than a century, last year's political rhetoric about the origins of the coronavirus inflamed sentiments to a degree not seen in decades. Stop AAPI's hate study found that 1 in 5 respondents who had experienced racism endured lasting psychological or emotional harm, while other research led by Professor Hayu Chris Ham of Boston University School of Social Work and Harvard Medical School pediatrics professor Cindy Liu found some individuals suffering from conditions associated with PTSD, even those who did not directly experience hate incidents. What do you think about all that?
I think it's terrible what has been happening to the elderly people in the AAPI community. It's absolutely horrible. The fact that there wasn't, quote unquote, enough evidence to charge him. It's just unfair. I feel for those families, especially the people who underwent these traumatic situations. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So the full article is called A Collective Trauma, Asian Americans Confront Mental Health Crisis Amid Rise of Racist Attacks by Mark Ramirez, USA Today. So, yeah, mental health is huge. And when you're talking about mental health, it can be almost really a lifelong process if you don't deal with it. And specifically, thank God I was raised in a home where we were able to talk about our emotions. But I know for traditional Asian American homes, which I know you grew up in, talking about feelings and emotions, that's really unheard of. Going to seek therapy, you got to be strong, you got to sweep under the rug. And I think there's strength in it. I think there's strength in, like we've talked about, the differences growing up where, we have good days, even though there's trauma that's happened to us. But at the same time, and we don't need to talk about it. But at the same time, we need to talk about it still, And so that's why Amber and I are big advocates for therapy, for counseling. It's okay to say you're not okay and you're not alone. If you need counseling, don't be afraid to get it, because there's literally professionals out there who are trained, educated their whole careers in school to help. And if there's helpers out there, it's okay to get help. I've gotten help individually. I know my beautiful bride has, and we have together, because we are passionate about being married. We're passionate. And so the only way, just like in school, we go to school K to 12 plus, right? And to be successful in our career, why don't we train ourselves and go to marriage conferences and counseling and have a marriage counselor, to have a coach to train us to be successful in our marriage, just as we would want to in our school, in our profession, in our career. Hello. So even though it's not in shambles and everything's good, thank God, we still have our struggles, we still have arguments, we still have cultural differences that we learning about each other. Even being from Michigan and California, that there's differences we need to talk through. So it's better to get it now than it is when it is in shambles and everything's falling apart, and when a lot of people seek counseling. So we're just big advocates for mental health counseling and therapy, and just know that you're not alone. And counseling has helped me personally tremendously, especially when it was a very difficult year for me from a toxic work environment last year. So, anything else you'd like to add, baby?
I think that was good. Yeah, I agree. We're big advocates for therapy individually and as a couple. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain from faith-based counseling and therapy.
Yeah, and it can help you even if you're going through something culturally right now, and how you may have experienced racism, systematic racism, oppression, prejudices, even from how you look. I know I've experienced prejudices even from how I look, but I thank God for how I look, because I'm unique and different, and you are unique and different and wonderfully made. So don't ever forget that, and be yourself. Wow, shout out to Amber. She's got a full time limit on her phone to make sure that she uses her time wisely on the phone.
Self-control, self-discipline.
And if there's tools for it, might as well use it.
Gotta use these screen limits, to focus and get things done. Yeah. So, she said I was her first client from Estados Unidos. What an honor.
That's
an honor.
And that's crazy, too, because there's really no Americans that come here where we're at.
Oh, no.
We hold it down for America.
No, usually people come to the south of the country, but we're living in the north of the country. Right. And I am pretty sure we are the only Americans in this historical village city, as I like to call it, at the moment. And we are the only Filipino Americans in the north of the state. The only ones.
Yeah, that's gotta be a fact.
There's like, I doubt there's any. But anyways, back on track here. What were we talking about?
But back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. That
what
is
were
it.
we talking about?
I'm talking about your nails.
No, before that.
It's somehow
Okay,
related.
representation.
Because it's all China here.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
how did I feel?
You're the South Korean.
Okay, so that was all context going into how I feel about it.
Okay.
So, another context. Oh, so many contexts.
Context is important, especially when you're reading the word.
Context is key. So, growing up in Los Angeles County, I walked to school every single day.
Okay.
Except for the very rare few times my sister was willing to drive me to school. In which those were times when I was desperate and woke her up from her slumber, and she would, in an aggravated voice, tell me, "Fine, Amber." So, I walked to school every day from maybe second or third grade to senior year of high school. And so, walking along in Los Angeles County, which is like Little Mexico, which means there's cholos, which is Mexican gangsters. And let's just say there were a ton of ignorant people in the city. And the gangsters were especially lacking in knowledge, especially when it came to the topic of culture. How do I know this? I would walk to school, minding my business, trying to do my best in school, trying to be a good student.
Which you were.
And trying to be a good citizen of America.
Right.
And they would say...
Musically gifted, athletically talented.
I'm carrying like my 4 ginormous heavy books, my backpack, and then my big old violin case, which was like a bazooka. I even called it like that back then because people were like, what the heck is that? It's not even shaped like a violin. Oh, it's a violin.
Was it a specific oversized violin case?
It was a Yamaha.
Yamaha.
Okay.
Wait, they make like off-roading vehicles.
I had a Yamaha.
They make like dirt bikes.
Yamaha piano and a Yamaha violin.
Did you have a Yamaha ATV?
No. That would be cool though.
By the way, did you ever have bazooka bubblegum?
Yes.
Oh, I want that. That was so good. The flavor lasted for maybe 15.2 seconds, but you always had a good comic in there. At the barbershop, you get it, and then the flavor would just, even if it was 15 seconds, the flavor was impeccable.
Hey, dang, it wasn't that good. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
it was.
Back to my walking days.
All right.
I'm walking with 4 heavy books. My backpack. Some in my backpack. 2 in my backpack, 2 in my hand, and my big old violin bazooka case.
Mm-hmm.
And here are some gangsters on the street, and they would say, "Hey, Chinita, Chinita," and then they would laugh amongst themselves. So funny for them, not for me. Can you believe I'm this little girl, and these gangsters are calling me Chinese girl? The audacity. Just because I look of Asian descent does not automatically mean I'm Chinese. If you would look on a map, if you would educate yourself, you would know that there's almost 50 countries. 50 countries. Almost.
Yeah.
In Asia.
Wow.
But everybody just equates to one country. Oh, you look Asian? You're Chinese.
Right.
Actually not.
No.
I think you're showing me how ignorant and lacking of knowledge you are.
Yeah.
So that just is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world.
Mm-hmm.
One of the top. And so it would get me aggravated. It's a trigger for me. But as I've gotten older, I've come to the understanding that it just shows that people are ignorant. And it shows that they're lacking in knowledge and not really educated in the world. And they're not really cultured, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So that context and understanding went into my reaction of today when the man said, "Are you Chinese, Japonese?" And, he's just old school, man. And in this country, the only Asian representation is Chinese people.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably never met a Filipino person in his entire life. He probably doesn't know where the Philippines is, which is unfortunate because he's missing out on really nice, amazing, hospitable people.
Yeah.
So I wasn't annoyed at one bit. I just laughed it off.
Yeah.
I think there was like a maybe 0.01% of me that was like, seriously? But then at the same time, it's like, whatever. Yeah. So that's how I felt about it.
Thank you for
How'd
sharing.
How'd you feel?
Thank you for sharing and thank you for asking me. First, I just think that's just such... It irritates me every time you tell me that story because, they need to mind their own business. You know what I'm saying? And not just mess with my wife, when you were a kid. You just trying to be you, like you said, just trying to do your thing, walk to school, and the audacity for these people to just come up there and tell you that you're Shanita Chinese and make fun of you when they have absolutely no idea who you are, what your ethnicity, what your background is, but then the audacity for them to just blurt it out,
Yeah.
It's not like you're coming back and calling them names, so...
Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, the equivalent would be if I was out there yelling, I don't say this to offend people. I'm just only trying to give an example that equates to the same thing. And it's like saying, hey, beaner, which is an incredibly offensive term to Mexican people.
Yeah.
I would never do such a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Totally.
Not everybody's gonna have the same heart as you.
Yeah. But I'm proud of you just for being the bigger person as a child. And, these grown... Actually, I ain't even grown. I believe that there's too many boys in this world, not enough men. So these boys, they're out there, having nothing better else to do than just to make fun of kids walking by.
Yeah.
Especially you, though. But
I love... they were like teenagers or something. Or their early 20s. I'm guessing teenagers.
Golly. That's still messed up.
Yeah.
Because, you're at an age where you know better, You're supposed to be more mature.
Ugh.
If you're older than you, like if you're supposed to be more mature if you're older, but that just again is another prime example
of age doesn't come with wisdom.
Yeah, age doesn't come with wisdom. You're right, love. So I think you're just cute, overall, and I think the way that you cute too is just naturally. You slay every day, MJ, and you just let it slide off and all right, keep going. You're so confident in who God has created you to be and the dreams you have and your talents and giftings that you just carry your giftedness of your violin and your backpack and your books and you're just going to go to school, do your thing. And, it wasn't easy for you growing up. I mean, you had to walk to school a lot. You had to encounter some, you out there in the jungle, man, encountering people making fun of you. There's some weird stuff that goes on, like you said, you pass by this creepy dude that would just be, you guys are kids and right? And this dude would be creepy. So you had some really obstacles growing up that was probably really traumatic for you, huh?
Yeah.
And not only that, but just leading into your high school and college days and hearing your story of even, growing up without a father, really, and growing up and then having a painful relationship and all that, and yes, you came out stronger from it. And I think that's hot, and I love you because I think you're hot because you're a Proverbs 31 woman. You're a Proverbs 31 woman and you trust God.
Thank you.
And He takes care of you, baby.
Thank you.
So.
Do you want to share your article?
Yeah. I want to share it, but how I felt in the moment. You said like 0.05. I was probably like 1.2% annoyed, and that was the first time in my life today actually where it was 1.2% and not 50 to 80 to 90 to 100% upset. Normally I'm boiling. Normally I'm like 99%, but imagine the boiling, but I can't express it. It's all internal, and that just continues to pile up and pile up and pile up without really dealing with it. It's just this internal, wow, people look at me differently, or they think I'm a different breed or a different person, or I come in peace type thing, Imagine how much that can mess with you if your identity, if you don't take care of it. Your identity. But thankfully my identity is in Christ first and foremost. And so he's the one that defines who I am. Not what other people think I am because of what they perceive I look like. Because they looked at me, they might have these prejudices or preconceived notions about me. And because this guy by the construction site just an hour ago said, "Are you Chinese or Japanese?" Thank God I didn't get into a sulky mindset. I just, no, we're actually from United States, right? Like if there was this typical like white look, or then oh gosh, you guys are American. But just because we have a different look, how does that make us any different from any other American? You know what I'm saying? Just in the world, from a worldly, like if not even from a worldly, but like across the world, you look at an American, would you think that me and you, Charlie and Amber, are Americans? No, because we get asked all the time, where are you from? Estados Unidos. Where are you from, though? Estados Unidos, United States. But then they want to and I think that they don't really have negative, bad intentions, but it really does kind of mess with you because you're like, I'm American. I grew up in America. But at the same time, yeah, we proud to be Filipino. We're proud of our heritage. Yeah. But it's just this constant wrestling of hey, I'm American, but I'm also Filipino. And so there's been a lot of times, though, where we also, when they say, where are you really from? We get into that, we're from the Philippines. And we love sharing this story of how my grandfather came from the Philippines to Detroit. So I think we can take it not as an annoyance, but just as a blessing. And if they want to be that type of person that asks, where are you really from, then we can share that too. But we've had great conversations being ambassadors, first and foremost for the kingdom, secondly for our country, America, and thirdly for our country, the Philippines, man. Even for our states. I'll probably represent Michigan. You probably represent California. And, we just trying to tell people, Motor City, man, it's the automotive industry. You talk about the beaches, California lifestyle, and then the Philippines. And just why we're proud to be Filipino as well. So I think it's a blessing that we can take it on. But at the same time, it's hard because I remember being at the train station in Braga, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up to me. You're in the bathroom, and he's like, "Oh, where you from?" Estados Unidos. Are you Chinese? Chinese? No, I'm actually from America. Are you Chinese? I'm actually from Estados Unidos. Are you Chinese? He asked me this probably it seemed a dozen times. Might as well order this dude donuts, bagels, dozen times. Okay.
Terrible.
Did you not hear me the first? No offense. Did you not hear me the first time? I said I'm from the United States, and he's like, "Where'd you come from?" Porto. We came on a train here. He said he's waiting for a friend. You need a ride? No, we're good. So, that hurt me. I can't just sit here as a man and say that didn't hurt me. That hurt me, because that brings back triggers from preschool where Drew, I ain't gonna say his last name, but Drew.
Come on, Drew.
5 years old. I'm coloring. We're doing a self-portrait. And we're coloring in crayons. I'm starting to color in peach.
Crayons.
Now, mind you, crayons. You say crayons? What do you say?
Crayons.
Crayons?
Yes.
Crayons.
It's spelled crayons.
Crayons. Comment below. Oh. Is it crayons or crayons?
Crayons.
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 Now I think crayon sounds strange, but crayon sounds even more strange.
Oh my gosh.
You stranger. Even more strange.
Thank you, love.
Crayons.
So anyways, It's definitely crayons, by the way.
No.
Because crayons, you just sounding out what it is.
And that's exactly what it is.
But it's crayons.
No.
Crayons.
Crayons.
I color with my blue crayon today. What do you say?
I colored with my blue crayon today. What is that? Crayon. I colored with my blue crayon.
Yeah. Okay. Because you're cute, I'll give you the
We
benefit
have to
of the
listen
doubt.
to. We're gonna search a commercial for crayons on Google and see what.
I bet you €5. That's crayons. All right, we shook on it. You can't see it because for some reason, it's no video, it's only audio. That's
For
all right.
some reason.
So
We're on
we
Twitter
shook on it.
Spaces.
Yeah, we on Twitter. What up, Twitter Spaces?
Maybe this might go on the podcast.
This might go on the podcast. You never know. It might become a special appearance.
Okay, anyways, back on track.
Back on track. Back to reality. Upwards gravity. Detroit. What's up, everybody? Detroit. What's up, everybody? So, mind you, I'm half Filipino, half white, right? Really?
I had no idea.
Surprise. 3 years into marriage.
What?
How you feel about that?
Just kidding.
How you feel about your hybrid mixed man?
It's good.
I like my Filipino queen, baby. So I'm out here and I'm growing up primarily around a white culture. I mean, there's a lot of white people in Michigan.
Gringo stick.
And then it's predominantly white and African American. There is a lot of people in Troy, the city that my family moved to eventually, that are Asian American. But we didn't go to that school. We went to a different school, Avondale. And Avondale had white, black,
That's it.
Latino.
That's it.
But there wasn't a lot of Asians there, man. I was the only.
You had like 2 Latinos. You're laughing because it's true.
Girl. I mean, shoot, it was diverse for the area, okay? You grew up in Los Angeles, which LA is diverse city. I mean, that's right near Mexico.
Diverse city.
That's right near in the Pacific where people come from Asia. So, girl, you already know that that's diverse. But what I'm saying is, from my side of the states, from my side of the country, it was a diverse school. So thank God for that, because I grew up being able to relate with a bunch of different races, and I found myself in a hybrid space. Cool with the African Americans, cool with the white people, cool with the the Asians at school. Even though there wasn't a lot of Latinos, but I still was cool with them. And then your man was the only half Filipino, half white until my brother came to school, because he's also half Filipino, half white.
Yeah, he's basically white though.
Yeah, I mean, he embraced more probably of my mom's side, the white side, and I probably embraced a little more of my dad's side, the Filipino side. So anyways, it's preschool. I'm coloring this portrait, and I'm coloring in peach, man. Everybody else coloring in peach. And then here comes Drew right to my side.
You really thought your skin color was peach?
Yeah, you want this to be like a deep talk right now?
I'm
pretty sure
going into it.
Honestly, think about it. Like if you're growing up in an American home, and I never looked at my skin before. I'm 5'6". I don't really look at my skin and be like, oh, my skin color is different, because I thought I was like everybody else. And I think that's just a pure innocent thing, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
Huh? Sometimes I don't know if she's kidding or not.
It makes sense why you thought that.
Yeah.
You grew up in an incredibly American household. Incredibly white household.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. So.
You weren't exposed to your culture other than Lola and Lolas.
True. And I think I just really embraced my Filipino side because of Lolo and Lola. And they always provided such a hospitable, safe, nurturing, welcoming environment. And it was always fun on the Filipino side. And at the same token, though, I also resonated with my white side because my grandfather, super loving. My mom's side, super loving, too. It's just a difference. As we're learning about the culture here, even though it can get frustrating learning a new language here in Europe, not knowing, it's a completely different culture, but it's when there's frustrations are natural, but it's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. And we can't judge or compare the different cultures because when we start getting to a point where we're like, oh, our culture, our nation better than your nation, ooh, that's how bad things happen, that's where wars happen, man. So we got to be understanding. So anyways, I'm coloring. Drew's to my side. And by the way, don't forget, I want you to share, love, what you just shared with me about how it might not be as frustrating for you. Mm-hmm. So, but real quick, finish this, to wrap this point up. Drew's to my side. Obviously, he's white. And he's like, Charles.
That's a real white name.
Drew. That's my brother's name, Andrew.
His name is... Yeah, that's a very white name.
What was my name?
No. Actually, there's a lot of Asians named Andrew.
What about Charles, my name?
Andrew Tran.
Oh, okay.
Charles? The Charles I ever knew were either Latino or white. But I didn't know many.
You only know your hubs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best Charles of all.
You're the best woman of all, baby.
There were a lot of Carlos. We keep getting off track here. Come on. Back on the freeway. Buckle up into the car and stay focused.
I feel like you really grew up with predominantly Hispanic community in BP, huh?
Continue.
Okay. And I think, anyways, I think that's dope that you were really surrounded with a true diverse community.
Did you wrap up your point, sir?
Getting back to it, Drew. I will not say this guy's last name, but we talking about Drew. We talking about Drew right now.
Drew,
we still talking about
Drew. You darn Drew.
God bless you, Drew.
I'm just kidding.
So, he's like, Charles. Why aren't you coloring with the orange crayon? Why are you coloring with the peach crayon? Are you laughing? That's funny, huh? That's funny now. Not when you're 5 years old trying to subliminally think about your identity.
I'm sorry. I was laughing at the crayon part.
Yeah, it's crayons, not crayons.
I'm just saying crayon like cranberry.
Cranberries are so good. I gotta take you to this place where we smash cranberries in Michigan. Mm-hmm. That was one of the funnest stories I covered because one of the most fun stories I covered because you're just out there like the commercial of Ocean Spray, stomping on cranberries.
Hey, we got neighbors. We're on the top floor.
Okay.
I don't think there's elephants up in here. All right. So how did that make you feel?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, it made me feel a little bit. I didn't know at the time. I just picked up an orange crayon and colored it orange. So I was the only, the white paper is just this full white paper of this self-portrait, and I'm the only one whose skin color is orange. Everybody else is in peach.
Were you actually orange? Were you tan when you were 5 or 6? No, I feel like you were light-skinned.
Yeah, there's nobody...
You didn't get really tan until you started playing a ton of sports.
Yeah. There's nobody... even at camp, growing up, boys camp and all that, over the summer, being out in the Michigan outdoors. What are you... Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I thought about how they called you Lawrence. You should mention that.
Oh my gosh. Yo, this is a whole series. So, first of all, there is nobody in this world ever who got made whose skin color is orange. Okay?
No, that's not true, Donald Trump.
I knew that. I knew about
it. And those people
that tan.
The people that tan in a tanning bed.
Yeah, but that's not natural. Every single natural skin color, there is 0.000% ever who is naturally orange, okay? Mm-hmm. Straight up. So no, I was not an orange skin color.
Yeah.
The guy just probably just thought, hey, he looks different. Why is he coloring him in this peach?
Mm-hmm.
So subliminally.
Yeah, because you don't have pink undertones. Like fully white people have pink undertones, but you have more like warm.
I don't even know, what does that even mean?
The ladies will get it. We'll just move on.
What does that mean?
So like in makeup, when you get your foundation, it matters what color you're getting based on, of course, the color of your skin and the undertones of your skin. Some people have pink undertones and they tend to be more pale. And then people in the medium skincare category, which we're in like the light to medium, we have warmer skin tone undertones, which is like olive and yellow undertones.
Mm.
And then so on and so forth. So that's what it is.
Okay, thank you. Learned something new. So I have an olive undertone.
Oh, like a warm yellow.
So you have an olive undertone.
I have like an olive yellow.
I like your skin. Your skin is really cute, and I love touching it. It's smooth.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But how can you tell?
You're so kind.
How can you? You're so cute. Jesus.
Goodness gracious.
But yo,
Sorry, this is getting a little.
We're married. We waited for these moments. I've been dreaming of these moments to ride my wife.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna need to edit that out.
So how do you do undertones? How can you see someone under their skin? How can you see an olive under the skin?
I will show you examples later.
Anyways.
Back on track.
Yeah, so there's just countless examples of this throughout my life where the orange was just something else. And so subliminally, I'm thinking like, okay, this is really upsetting, but I'm not like thinking that in the moment, of course. It's more so over time realizing, looking back, how much that affected me, because I'm different, but
I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. I'm different.
Yeah, I'm different.
Pull up to the city with the elimination.
Pull up to the city with my ceiling missing. Hey, yo, and when your ceiling's missing, I mean, shoot, that's deep. When your ceiling is missing, then you don't have a covering. And when the rain comes, you're not going to have that protection. So if we don't have our mind centered in Christ and our mind and our identity in Him, then all of what this world is throwing at us, the storms of life coming at us from what people say about us, if we pull up to the scene with the ceiling missing, that's going to come right in. It's going to fill your house and drain it. You're not going to have anything to drain it out. It's going to be flooding with negativity and doubts of who you are. Whoo! But I gotta be... So, anyways, man, this is crazy. So yeah, Lawrence True, School of Rock, the only Asian in that band, his name was Lawrence. And so, at this camp that I went to, which was also a transformative camp for me, I was the only one that wasn't white, right? Because it's an Upper Peninsula. Went to this island in Lake Superior. That's how my favorite animal became a moose, because I saw a moose, majestic mooses, however you say it.
Is that terrifying?
The
just being
wild.
like the only colored person?
No, it's not, because I'm used to it. Is it terrifying for you?
It's terrifying.
Oh, okay. Remind me to get back to this, but okay, two things I want you to share right now, love. One, why is it terrifying for you, like when you go to Michigan and you're around like my family that's predominantly white, and then, you know, I got a bigger Filipino side, but you're around mostly white people. I've always been curious about that.
Well, it's not fully terrifying. It's just slightly uncomfortable. It's an exaggeration. So if I am in a room full of white people and I'm the only colored person, yeah, it's uncomfortable. I don't know. It's just like, I think what makes it the most uncomfortable is, for example, when we went into a cafe to get some agua, water, and there was a bunch of older men in the cafe, all with their friends or by themselves.
This was just today?
They were looking at us. Just like
staring at us.
Staring.
Like,
so
we come in peace, fam.
Right. And then when you lived in northern Michigan and were working out there as a news reporter in this super rural area, diversity was not a term to describe it by any means. And we'd walk around and people would stare at us. It's just, I think, actually, I'm okay if it's a room full of cultured white people who, like, embrace other cultures and that type of thing.
How often is that?
Have friends that are of various descents. But then if it's uncultured white people, then it's just kind of like, it just makes you feel uneasy, you know?
Totally.
I don't know.
But in the same token, so being in a new culture, you mentioned something. I mean, this is a little bit different, but, and thank you for sharing, Salama, obrigado, queen. You know, why is it,
De nada.
It might be uncomfortable for you to be more around white people in certain uncultured settings, which, you know, there's a lot of white people who are cultured, but there's also a lot who aren't.
Yeah. I think, like, Hobie, the youth leadership conference that I attended as a high schooler and volunteered ever since, like, those were tons of cultured white people. But it was also diverse. It wasn't just white people. But the white people that were cultured because, So.
And then why is it, you mentioned this earlier today as well, you know, why is it easier for you or more comfortable for you to be around foreign languages? You know, as we're learning a new language, it's been fun for me, like the first month, 2 months, 3 months. Now it's getting to a point, I almost had like a meltdown the other day because I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's speaking a different language, obviously, because we're in a different country. But, you know, it's just like, I got the culture shock has got to me to the point where I was like feeling shocked. And then I'm like, wow, man, I just want some barbecue and I just want like to talk to somebody in English and just want to like watch NFL. I miss America, you know. And
oh my God.
I want people to understand what our culture is, man. And instead of just wearing, because every other person wears California, you know, shirts and, you know, like America shirts, but, you know, do you know really about us, you know? But then at the same time, you don't even know that I'm American. So there's all these things. And I had to ask God forgiveness because I'm like, oh, man, I can't be judging. I can't be this. Like, I can't be, you know, thinking negatively like this. So I apologize internally for thinking this. But that's just the honesty of, like, when you're living somewhere. It's not just like a week-long mission trip. Like, we decided to live here. And so it comes with challenges.
Yeah, I think it's been really exciting for me to learn a new language.
Wow.
I've always enjoyed learning a new language. I've always enjoyed learning a new language. You know, at home, it was my mom, my Lola, which is grandma in Tagalog, and my older sister, who's 10 years older. So we had a whole lady gang in the home. Was good. And so my mom and Lola would speak Tagalog in the home. They would speak English as well, but I'm very grateful that they spoke in Tagalog because I was able to learn the language. So I can understand it really well. But when it comes to speaking, I would reply in English or Taglish.
Why?
So
why didn't you ever respond in Tagalog?
They never really forced me to. I feel like kids that usually, not all kids, but there are some kids that grow up in homes where the parents make them answer back with the intention of their kid learning the language, which I think is good. It could be maybe annoying to some kids, but then in turn they learn to speak the language. Right. I was never required to do so. So I just replied in English or in Taglish. So, yeah, that was my background growing up.
And I think that's common, like you mentioned, because my father, when he came to Detroit, which shout out to my family, my white and Filipino side, my Lolo, as you say in Tagalog, Filipino language, when my dad was 8, he came to Detroit to be an accountant at Chrysler. You know, shout out to the Motor City. Detroit, what's up? They may count us out, they may count us down. We coming back with the Super Bowl, man. They count us out every day, but we straight fighting, clawing our way to just make it. So
Focus.
So my Lolo, and so my dad was 8, and so they actually grew up and they were made fun of a lot. You know, they called him Bruce Lee in Detroit. You know, it's predominantly African American in the inner city. And they didn't really know a lot of Asians, again, going back to us being in this country in Europe. They don't really have a conception of the Asian culture, so they know what they see on TV. And all it was Bruce Lee. And so they made fun of him, said, you know, doing kung fu, math, Bruce Lee type thing, like, because they associate Asians with being smart. And so, yeah, they got picked on a lot. And so anyways, to the point you were making, my dad and all my aunts and uncles, titos and titas, they would speak back in English. They can understand Tagalog perfectly, but they don't speak it. They only listen to it.
Yeah.
And understand it.
And I also think our backgrounds are different because they were bullied and made to feel ashamed of their culture. And so they assimilated to being like a white person or embracing the white culture. But for me, I didn't try to be anything I wasn't.
Right. I'm just saying in regards to like listening to the language as opposed to speaking it.
Yes. But you mentioned the Bruce Lee thing. But your family background is like they assimilated to the white culture.
Yeah, but yours didn't. You guys were strong, man.
Yeah.
Filipinos.
I mean, we embraced American culture, but we never pushed aside or were ashamed of being Filipino. Mm-hmm. I think my sister has a very different background and experience, but for me, I remember as a kid telling my mom, saying in the kitchen, I love being Filipino, mommy, or something like that. And then in 5th grade, I remember writing a report about Jose Rizal, the Filipino hero, and being so proud to present my essay and to present to the class about being Filipino, about this amazing Filipino hero who knew like many different languages. And yeah, I was always proud. But there were moments, of course, that I would get annoyed. Is like, you know, there was one thing I didn't like to... At one point, I didn't like to be called Asian because then it would equate to people thinking I'm automatically Chinese. So I honestly prefer being called Filipino American. Yeah. But that's a whole nother story. I don't really like the blanket term Asian. Because then it just... It's like I'm proud to be Asian, but then at the same time, if you want to label me, I prefer to be called Filipino American. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's another story in itself. But yeah, I've always been proud. So I grew up with language in my home. And then in school, there was a huge Latino population. So for back to school night or for parent papers, everything was also dubbed in Spanish. Just like in Canada, things are dubbed also in French. For here in Los Angeles County, well, we're not in Los Angeles County, but growing up in Los Angeles County, there would be someone who speaks English and someone who speaks Spanish for the parents, and then papers would be in English and in Spanish. So again, I was surrounded by another language. And then at home, my mom also enjoyed, well, we'd love George Lopez and like Everybody Loves Raymond or Everybody Hates Chris, you know, American sitcoms. Mm-hmm. But my mom also enjoyed watching Japanese soap operas and Korean soap operas. So those were in another language as well. So I was constantly surrounded by different languages. And so therefore I embraced it and I was used to it. And also I learned Spanish in high school and I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Miss Moscoso. She was an amazing Spanish teacher. I loved that class. So, but you on the other hand, Hubs, you did learn Spanish, but you were only surrounded by English. So this is really your first time being surrounded by another language, and that's why I came to a revelation that like, oh, I understand why it's frustrating for you. Because for me, I'm like, this is exciting. And then when, people speak to us in another language, or like we're hearing things and I can understand a little bit of it, I'm okay with not understanding the other part. Of course, I want to understand everything. I wish I was fluent already, but I'm okay with the challenge of not understanding fully. But then for Charlie, it's really frustrating. And I understand why. I was thinking, because you didn't really grow up with a ton of different languages and didn't have to conquer the challenge of, or you just weren't surrounded by it in your environment. So I can see why it could be frustrating for you.
Yeah, and first of all, I started to tear up when you said, I love being Filipino, mommy, because only by God's grace could he bring me to such a pure soul like you and a queen, a Filipina queen like you, that you go to your mom and say that. And I'll be honest, like we say, I never imagined, because I never saw that in my own family. My dad got married to a white woman, remarried to a white woman, and all my family members, they got remarried. They married a white person, or one married a Latina, but they're not together anymore. So God be with them. So they all married white, right? And so that's what I knew, and that's what I thought would happen. But only by God's grace and mercy, and Him knowing that my soul was longing for you to, before I even knew you, you were saying to your mom that I'm proud to be Filipino, mommy. And me, I was telling I'm Dad, can we go to this Filipino festival? Can we have these parties? I want to hang out with Lolo Nola. I want to eat lumpia. I love going to my Lolo Nola's house to eat lumpia and to eat puto.
This is true. I'm just going to add on to this. We were at Charlie's mom's house, and she had the three of them, him, his brother, and his sister, write in these little books about themselves. And Charlie was like 8, 9, 10, and he wrote in this book, it said, my favorite food is, and he filled in Filipino food and ribs. And here I thought he was just telling me he loved Filipino food just to impress me. I thought it was a joke, but he literally did love Filipino food.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
just
it's
wanted
okay.
to add.
And I was watching the Pacquiao fights and loving that he honored Jesus and prayed before and after his matches, and and that he rep God, and I just wanted to join this Filipino basketball league. And so first of all, I love that, and I just want to say too that there was like one day I was massively frustrated. Pretty much 98% of the time here I'm like enjoying even learning a new language, because I also really appreciate cultures and love cultures. And we've had incredible conversations in hybrid Portuguese and English pretty much everywhere we go. And, it just seems like they really appreciate us. And, thank God we are able to relate with people and hopefully encourage people. And, we've been told even today that you guys have been a blessing to the mission team here, and all glory to God for that. We're just being ourselves. We want to honor God and want to honor each other. And everywhere we go, we want to make an impact for the kingdom. And so that's our heart, and so it just reflects in how we relate with people and connect with people. And we connect with people from a store to near a trash can out the trash, connecting with these high school skateboard dudes, handing them a Bible pamphlet about how to learn the Bible, and then connecting with this married couple at a Michelin-star restaurant who owns it, and praying for them afterwards. And that they it's a Michelin-star restaurant, but they keep the meal €19 for a 3-course meal, so the locals can afford it, to have Portuguese food, but then the husband's French and have this French creativity to the Portuguese cuisine. So everywhere we go, man, we really, from the streets to the restaurants to the cafes to the grocery stores, we ain't perfect, but we just try to be ourselves, and hopefully people are encouraged by that. And it seems like they are, because I think in this culture, like I learned a couple days ago, that they don't say hi. That's just not a thing here, to strangers. And so we just be saying hi, smiling, being ourselves. And so thank God for that. Only by God's grace. So going on, to that, I'm half Filipino, half white, which you just learned about today, apparently. Just kidding. But that comes with a dynamic of, I'm proud of my Filipino culture, but even when I joined this Filipino basketball league, I still felt out of place. Even when I was with my Filipino side of the family, I felt like in place with my aunts and uncles because we spoke English, but my Filipino side, where they all spoke Tagalog, and I wish I could speak Tagalog. I wish I could know what they're saying, and I didn't. And then I felt a little bit more comfortable because that's my family. But when I got to this Filipino basketball team, those are my homies. They were cool with me. I was cool with them. But even that, my team, I was cool. But then I even felt uncomfortable around the other teams. It was intimidating because there's a culture within the Filipino culture where I wasn't really exposed to as much, other than what I knew from my family. So I'm going into it, and it was intimidating because they're talking in Tagalog, these dudes, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm half. And they called me halfy. They called me and this other dude, Rich, on the team. We're the halfies on the team. Imagine being called half. I'm a whole person, right? I'm not half and half.
It's a fun thing.
Oh, is it fun? Would you like to be called halfy?
If I was half, yeah.
But I'm a whole person. I'm a whole milk. I'm not half and half
of
cream.
Course, but it's just like you're. They're just saying. There's a term in Hawaii. It's hapa, which means half.
Yeah.
But it's like fun.
Yeah. So I'm blessed. I love being half. I love being half. I love being exposed to, because I think that helped prepare me. God, you wanted me to be half Filipino, half white, to prepare me to continue to be the man I am today, to be able to relate with so many different groups of people, right? And so, so going back to Isle Royale, the island in Lake Superior, where moose became my favorite animal because I saw them in the wild, majestic and serene. Everyone was called something chew. Someone was called pistachio chew. They like pistachio pudding. I was called Lawrence Chew.
What?
Because in School of Rock, that was the only Asian kid, Lawrence.
Why was someone called pistachio and you were called Lawrence?
Right, because everyone else
Why
was
couldn't
white.
you call
Chocolate chew?
Yeah.
I like chocolate. Peanut
Yeah.
butter chew.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. I was like, yo, looking back, that's racist.
It's racist.
But in the meantime, I was like, I'm accepted. They know it's me. I'm a School of Rocker.
Oh,
I'm a piano.
gosh. Oh gosh.
That was fun, man. It was no phones. It was all we were boys, we were like in middle school.
What were the other nicknames?
And all we had was tents and backpacks, and we were in nature. I think the other nicknames was like Headband Chew.
What?
Pistachio
Yours
Chew.
Yours was the only racist
Josh Chew.
one?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh.
They didn't call themselves Whitey Chew, I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, they didn't call me white. I'm half white. That's another thing. I agree with you, love, that I don't like being called, hey, are you Asian? Because I'm American. I'm half Filipino, half white. There is 0 people who have asked, are you white, in my life, right? And so that's a part of me too. Let's not forget that. That's a part of me. And so imagine countless people throughout my life saying, oh, you're Jeremy Lin on the basketball court, or oh, you're Yao Ming, or oh, like Jackie Chan. You like Jackie Chan? Can you do karate? Do you know math?
Oh.
I do not like math. I really don't. I despise it. You
don't like math, but yet you took calculus. Did you pass?
Hey, girl, I passed with a flying C.
Nice.
A flying C for Charlie.
You passed.
No, I think I got a B or something. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you said C. You can't retract the statement.
Hey, it's just that natural, God-given instincts to learn it. But if I applied myself more and actually loved it, then I would have gotten an A. Yeah, so... So yeah, what's crazy about that is just, that's life, and I stayed the course, but that stuff affects you, subliminally growing up, where, years ago, not years ago, like, I'm just saying, like, in college, It was really college.
College. There you go,
Oh.
Midwestern accent.
Caught me in red-handed. Arrest me and take me to bed.
College.
All right.
College.
Hey, man.
College.
For those listening who know from my experience, you know that my freshman year, I was punched in the face for trying to work out a situation with this guy. I was raised, to handle things man to man. This guy didn't want to handle it. He was annoyed, and so he punched me in the face. It's a long story, but basically, I went back to his dorm room. He punched me in the face, and I had a bunch of friends that were white, and I thought they were my best friends. And then we get to this. It's a private college where I find out later because the policeman, the police were called. He's like, "Do you want to, press charges? It's probably just going to be labeled as a bar fight," even though I didn't punch back, and because the verse coming through my mind was Jesus said, "Turn the other cheek." So I've never been in a fight before, really.
I have.
You been in a fight?
Yeah.
When?
Just kidding.
Oh man.
Psych. No, me? Heck no.
No, heck no.
I was so good at two shoes.
You were. Actually, in elementary school, I was a part of Woodland 7, the Woodland Most Wanted. At these 7 guys that, I think one time, I was in a quote-unquote fight, but I got pushed by this guy named Jake. And so, anyways, this was like the first time I really was in a scary situation when it came to a fight. And so, one of the first times. And so, I got punched in the face. It goes to this trial, whatever, in school. And they put us both on probation. We both had to move dorms. And I found out later that his father is head of the Grand Rapids police force, the city's police force of the college I was going to, and was a major donor of the school, or the pastor. And so, that devastated me because they took the side of somebody who had the connections, instead of this east side of Michigan guy coming to school with family really isn't made of money. And all the friends that were with me, that were also supposedly friends with him, they remained neutral. Nobody really took my side. And that's when I joined what was the multicultural club at the school, because that's where I felt like, okay, they actually are embracing me. So that's when I did the tinikling, the Filipino dance.
Yeah, of course I know tinikling.
And that's when I did...
My mom taught tinikling. I did
yes.
tinikling.
Yeah. Ooh, you give me the tinikling feeling. And then I was like the host, the MC for the International Dance Festival, and that's when I did hip hop dance, and I was around the minorities, as they would say, from an official college standpoint, in school. But I never considered myself a minority, and I still really don't. I really wrestle and struggle with calling myself a minority because I'm a man. And why am I not the majority? Why can't everybody be the majority? I know that if you're calling it based on statistics that there's less of a certain race, then yeah, you're technically the term is a minority, but don't call someone that, because that can make your mindset feel like you're somehow inferior to somehow the majority of, it has to be this Caucasian, put on a Caucasian, this platform of this is how it should be in media, and then let's cast them, let's focus on them, and then that really hurts as a man, because then you feel like you have to live up to something that you can never be because God made you a certain way. But then when you flip the script and like, wow, I'm different, God can utilize this.
Yeah, I'm different.
And when the ceiling's off and the ceiling's missing, guess what's flying in? God's showering blessings. God's showering rain on you and refreshment on a hot sunny day. Because maybe, just maybe, since he made me different, since people are starting to realize, oh, we could use this Asian brother up in here. We can use this Asian-looking brother, even though I'm really half Filipino, half white. We can use him because we need more representation.
Yeah.
So you can use it. I was told this, my senior year of college from Fox Detroit. They need more. We need more, like what they say, minority. There was that term again, but men. We need more, and specifically Asian men in the news. And so that encouraged me to just, all right, I can do this. And so thank God that he provided me with all these different opportunities. And even though I got to a point, I won't name the organization, but I got to a point where they said, oh, your voice has to be this certain way. It has to be this certain way. It's like this 40, 50-year-old white man voice. And that's, again, what they put on a platform. where we need to get to a point as a society where let me be me. Let us all be ourselves and not have to conform to a middle-aged white man, because that's the profession in the society. And so here we are. We are on the scene. I am here with my wife and we are reporting the scene. It's a cloudy day, but it's going to be great. That is not me, yo. That is not me. I just felt like they were trying to conform my voice and style to be this certain way. Embrace who I am, fam.
Embrace who I am, fam. Would you tell that to the employer in the news? Imagine being in a meeting with a news director.
Oh, that was close. There was coffee near us, espresso cafe, as they say here.
Oh, man.
It was just a water bottle.
Coffee almost spilled.
Coffee almost spilled.
Imagine a meeting with a news director. Let me embrace who I am, fam.
All right, man. Yo,
Imagine.
you're like, all right, you can embrace the door.
Yeah, I'm sure that would go so well.
So that's what I'm saying now, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to speak up for all those who are in the shoes that I was in and are in the shoes right now that we're in.
Yeah.
We have to continue this conversation because it can't just be a 2020 thing. It can't just be because it's trending, you know? If they don't want to listen, you know, if they don't want to talk about it, we have to continue to talk about it, because in the uncomfortableness, that's where like growth happens, because it's growing pains, right? It's not comfortable, but we have to continue it when it's not popular to talk about it.
Right.
That's why we continue in this conversation, love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that,
We have to grocery shop.
we do have to
get a haircut.
grocery shop.
You want to come with me to get my
You gotta
haircut?
get a haircut. I have to edit the YouTube video.
Yeah, of where we are. Do you want to do the video while I get the haircut and then we grocery shop after? Because the haircut closes at 7.
Sure.
And this went a little bit longer than expected.
Yeah, that's okay. It was a good conversation.
Oh, we just had a little marital logistic discussion. You just got an
We
inside
had
scoop.
a-
But y'all ain't gonna get the book.
We had
Y'all just heard our inside scoop of how we discuss logistics.
we had a million tangents, but we hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
So thank you for tuning in, dear friend. Thank you for having me, Hub.
You're welcome, love.
What an honor. What a joy. We can continue having conversations whenever you like.
Thank you, love.
Let me know. I'm here.
I appreciate it. I want to have even more conversations with you. We should do our own series, too.
Sure.
So I love you. God will give the series to you. And God, whoever's listening right now, watch over them and protect them. And may they know who they are, who you created them to be, that their identity is in you, Jesus, and you, Jesus alone. Jesus alone. And know that they are super loved and they don't have to conform to the patterns of this world or what they say is the right way of how to be, how to act. They can just be themselves and embrace who they are. Specifically, if they're Asian or Asian American, Filipino American, Pacific Islander.
Yes. That they can embrace their culture
Yes.
and be proud.
Thank you for joining. This has been Authentically. This has been another episode with my very, very special guest, Amber J. And you never know, there might be even more. We might be coming out with some episodes, the Charlie Amber series. But in the meantime, sign up for our channel, YouTube, Charlie and Amber. And we got a lot more coming your way. Adventures in Europe. I love you.
I love you. You the best.
You the best, baby. Rock you our secret handshake.
Bam.
Bam, we out. And have an amazing, beautiful, and
Blessed day.
we love you. Keep it up. Don't give up.
Love you.
Peace.